My name is Emily Carter, and for as long as I can remember, I was the daughter my family loved quietly and hid loudly. We grew up in Dayton, Ohio, in a neighborhood where success was measured by job titles and how impressive you sounded at church potlucks. My parents raised 3 kids. My older brother, Ryan, became an engineer. My younger sister, Lauren, was on track for law school. And me? I worked custodial night shifts at a manufacturing plant. It wasn't because I was lazy or unmotivated. When my dad had a stroke during my second year of college, I dropped out without telling anyone how badly it scared me. Someone had to keep the lights on. Someone had to help with rent, medical bills, groceries. That someone was me. Every night, I scrubbed oil-stained floors while machines hummed like tired animals. My hands were cracked from chemicals, my back always sore. But the bills got paid. The fridge stayed full. The house stayed ours. Still, to my mother, my job wasn't responsible. It was embarrassing. At family gatherings, she introduced my siblings with pride. This is Ryan. He designs systems for aerospace companies. And Lauren, she's interning at a law firm downtown. Then she'd glance at me and smile too quickly. And Emily's helping out locally for now. Helping out. She never said custodian, never said factory, like the words might stain her mouth. The worst moment came at a 4th of July barbecue 2 years ago. A distant aunt asked what I did for work. Before I could answer, my mom laughed and said, "Oh, she's still figuring herself out." I stood there holding a paper plate, feeling myself shrink. I told myself it didn't matter, that I wasn't doing this for praise. That family meant sacrifice. Then came Mother's Day. I was on my break at work, sitting on an overturned bucket behind the loading dock, scrolling on my phone with hands that smelled like disinfectant. The family group chat lit up. Mother's Day dinner tonight. So proud of my successful children. Ryan and Lauren can't wait to celebrate you. That was it. 2 names. Mine wasn't there. I waited, refreshed the screen, told myself it had to be a mistake. It wasn't. That was the moment something inside me finally cracked, not loudly, not dramatically, but in a way that told me I was done begging to be seen. And my family had no idea what they had just started. I didn't respond to the group chat. I stared at my phone until the screen dimmed, my reflection staring back at me under a hairnet and factory lights. My name wasn't forgotten. It was excluded. That hurt more than any insult they'd ever said out loud. A few minutes later, my phone buzzed again. A private text from my mom. "You understand why this dinner is important, right? It's just about celebrating achievements. Don't take it personally. Don't take it personally." As if being erased by your own mother was a scheduling issue. I didn't answer. I finished my shift in a fog, hands moving automatically while something inside me went cold and sharp. That night, I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, replaying every moment I'd swallowed my pride to keep the peace. Every rent payment I covered, every grocery run I paid for, every time I worked doubles so my parents wouldn't stress. And yet, when it came time to be proud, I didn't qualify. The next morning, I made a decision I'd been too scared to make for years. I stopped sending money. No announcement, no dramatic speech. I simply didn't transfer the monthly help I'd quietly been giving them since my dad got sick. 3 days later, my dad called. "Hey, Em," he said, trying to sound casual. "Your mom noticed the payment didn't come through." I took a slow breath. "Yeah, I'm done." Silence filled the line, heavy and uncomfortable. "Done with what?" he asked. "With being invisible until you need me," I said. My voice shook, but I didn't back down. "I'm good enough to help, but not good enough to sit at the table. I'm done." He sighed. "You know how your mother is." She didn't mean it that way. That sentence flipped something inside me. No one ever means to hurt you when they benefit from it. "I've spent years meaning well," I replied, "and all it's gotten me is humiliation." Later that day, my brother Ryan texted, "Why are you making a big deal out of this? Mom's just proud of us. You could try harder, you know. Try harder." As if I hadn't already given them everything I had. That night, I opened a notebook and drew a line down the center of the page. On the left, I wrote, "Keep trying." On the right, "Choose myself." The right side filled faster. No more proving my worth. No more shrinking. No more pain to be tolerated. At the bottom of the page, I wrote 3 words that terrified me more than anything else. I am done. They thought silence would punish me. They didn't realize it was about to cost them far more than my feelings. The house didn't collapse without my money, but the cracks showed fast. Within 2 weeks, my mom started calling more often. Not to ask how I was, just to check in, translation, to see if I'd changed my mind. I let most of the calls go to voicemail. The silence gave me something I hadn't had in years: space to hear myself think, without the constant pressure to earn approval. I started noticing things at work I'd ignored before. How supervisors struggled to keep night crews staffed. How half the managers had never actually done the jobs they barked orders about. How often I ended up training new hires even though it wasn't my responsibility. One night, my supervisor pulled me aside. "Emily, you ever think about moving up?" he asked. I almost laughed. No one in my family had ever said that to me. Instead, I nodded. That conversation changed everything. Within a month, I was enrolled in a paid leadership program the company offered internally. Safety training, team coordination, logistics, the kind of skills no one bragged about at family dinners, but the kind that actually ran places. I worked my regular shifts and stayed late for classes. Exhaustion buzzing through me like static. But this time, it felt different. I wasn't grinding to keep someone else comfortable. I was building something that was mine. That's when my mom escalated. She showed up at my apartment unannounced one Saturday morning. "I don't understand why you're doing this," she said, standing in my doorway, arms crossed. "You've embarrassed us. People are asking why you weren't at Mother's Day." I blinked at her. "So now I matter?" Her mouth tightened. "Don't twist my words. You didn't invite me," I said calmly. "You erased me publicly." She waved a hand. "You could have just come anyway. But you always choose to be difficult." There it was. Not accountability. Not regret. Just blame. I realized then that my absence wasn't hurting her emotionally. It was hurting her image. And that was the leverage I didn't know I had. A week later, my brother Ryan posted online about family, values, and strong support systems. I read it twice, then did something I'd never done before. I commented, not angrily, not dramatically, just 3 words. "Except Emily." The comment stayed up for exactly 6 minutes before it disappeared. But screenshots last forever. By the end of the month, whispers started. Extended family began reaching out awkwardly at first. "Hey, everything okay between you and your mom?" I answered honestly. I wasn't invited because I'm not considered successful enough. I didn't rant. I didn't exaggerate. I let the truth do the damage. They spent years pretending I didn't exist. Now, people were starting to notice the missing chair, and the story they told no longer controlled the narrative. The apology never came. Not a real one. What came instead were excuses dressed up as concern, messages sent through other people so no one had to say the words. I was wrong out loud. By then, my life barely had room for them anyway. I had been promoted again, this time to operations coordinator, overseeing multiple shifts. People asked for my input, trusted my judgment, paid me well for it. My calendar was full, my apartment brighter, my shoulders lighter. One afternoon, my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. It was my mom. "I heard you're doing very well now. We should talk. Family should stick together when things improve." I stared at the message for a long time. Not "I'm proud of you." Not "I'm sorry." Not even "I miss you." Just, "Now that you're worth something, come back." That was the moment the last thread snapped. A week later, I was invited to speak at a local workforce event about non-traditional career paths. I stood on a small stage, lights warm on my face, and told my story, not names, not details, just truth. "I was once told my job was embarrassing," I said. "But dignity doesn't come from titles. It comes from showing up, especially when no one is clapping." The applause wasn't thunderous. It was steady, real. Photos from the event circulated online. Someone tagged me. Someone else shared it. And then, my mom saw it. She showed up at my apartment again. This time, she looked smaller. "I didn't know you felt that way," she said quietly. I met her eyes. "You did. You just didn't care." Her mouth opened, closed. "I did what I thought was best," she said. "I know," I replied. "And now I am too." I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I simply told her the truth. "I'm not cutting you off to punish you. I'm stepping back because I finally respect myself. And I won't be part of a family where love is conditional." She left without another word. I closed the door and felt something unexpected peace. Months later, I changed my emergency contact, updated my records, built holidays around friends who showed up without needing me to perform. I didn't win by humiliating them. I won by no longer needing them. If you've ever been erased, overlooked, or told your worth depended on how impressive you look to others, know this. Walking away isn't weakness. Sometimes it's the strongest revenge there is. And choosing yourself? That's success they can never take credit for. The call came on a Tuesday night. I almost didn't answer. The number was unfamiliar, but something told me who it was before I picked up. "Emily," my mom said, her voice tight and brittle. "We need to talk. Not I miss you. Not I'm sorry. Need." I leaned back on my couch, staring at the framed certificate on my wall. Operations supervisor. My name printed in bold. I'd earned it 3 weeks earlier. A promotion I hadn't told my family about. Not because I was hiding it, but because I no longer needed their reaction to make it real. "What's wrong?" I asked. She exhaled sharply. "Your father's hours were cut. Things are tight. And people are saying things. Family is asking questions. You've made things difficult." There it was. Not concern for me. Concern for comfort. For appearances. "I didn't make things difficult," I said quietly. "I just stopped pretending." Silence hung between us. "You used to help," she finally said. "You used to care." I felt the old guilt stir then fade. "I cared so much I disappeared," I replied. "I paid bills. I worked nights. I swallowed embarrassment so you could brag about other kids. And the one time you had to choose between Image and me, you chose Image." Her voice sharpened. "That's not fair." "No," I said. "It's accurate." She started crying then. Not loud, not dramatic. Controlled. Careful. The kind of crying that asks you to fix it. "I did my best," she whispered. "I believe you think that," I said. "But your best still hurt me." Another pause. "So what now?" she asked. I closed my eyes and pictured my life as it was now. The respect at work. The quiet apartment that felt safe. Friends who didn't need me to earn a seat. "This is where it ends," I said gently. "I'm not your secret helper anymore. I'm not your backup plan. I hope things get better, but I'm not coming back into that role." "You're choosing this over family?" she asked. I corrected her calmly. "I'm choosing myself because I never got to be family." She didn't argue after that. Weeks passed. Then months. I heard through relatives that things were uncomfortable, that my absence was noticeable, that my mom hated questions she couldn't spin, that people were finally seeing the gap between the story she told and the truth she lived. And me? I was thriving. I still wore steel-toe boots, still worked hard, still didn't have a job title that impressed strangers, but I had something I'd never had before. Peace. The revenge wasn't loud. It wasn't cruel. It was living well without begging to be included. And for the first time in my life, that was enough.